Hey guys, we are back. So we're gonna one thing I forgot. We'll go to Fazila. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. And then the disclaimer. I have to read the disclaimer. Hopefully, just give me a second, guys. If we could put that up for me, that'd be fantastic. Anyway, so while we're getting the disclaimer, um, I'm going to go ahead and read some of these people. So Dalai Lama, no. Matt Kahn, no. Eckhart Tolle, no. Sadhguru, no. Patrick Flanagan, no. And I'm not saying it's not yes or no. There's, again, different variations or different levels of, say, enlightenment. Okay. Teal Swan, no. Muhammad, yes. Gandhi, no. Patrick Flanagan, no. Howard, no. Valerie Tejina, Mother Teresa, Dr. Pila, uh, Bentino, hell no. Rumi, kind of up there. Dalai Lama, no. Kevin Trudeau, no. Buddha, hell yes. Matt Kahn, no. Matthias, Patrick Flanagan, no. Ananda, yes. And again, not complete enlightenment, but Daniel Reitzker, no. Are they? Have they awakened at some level, some knowledge? Yes, but like complete abundance. Um, uh, Before you, you can give me a second. Hi, can you hear me? Okay, hon. Hello. I'm frozen. You need to turn your Wi-Fi off here. Um, she's there. Um, I can't hear her. I did. I unmuted her. Can you turn your Wi-Fi? You know. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me, hon? You'd have to unmute yourself. While she's doing that, she's unmuted on my end. You'd have to unmute yourself, hon. So I'll read the Fazila. Can you unmute yourself? So I'll read this disclaimer, guys, for you. This is Masati with Exponential Intelligence, Sunday, March 20th. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose or heal. I can scan your frequency signature and tell you what I see. Please consult your doctor or professional for professional advice. If you ask me to be scanned today, you're agreeing that we may use your session on any public media to help inspire others. So remember, if you don't want us to be, if you don't want to share your information or your session, then don't ask to be scanned. All right. We do this once a month, by the way. And please, Fazila, please talk whenever you're ready. Okay. Um, and then, so at the end of the month, what we do is that we pick two individuals at the end, and then we do a live session with them. And hopefully, this works. Are you live, honey? Can you hear me, Fazila? Um, hmm. Um, let's go to Ken. Ken, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Alrighty. Fantastic. And then we'll try to figure out what happened to Fazila. By the way, Yami, I couldn't see her on my Wirecast. I could only see Ken. So so figure that out. And if we can't figure it out, then we'll just work on Ken. So Ken, it's okay for me to analyze you and see what's going on, right? And share it to the world, right?
Yeah.
And then we can use your story any way that we can to help others, right? Expand. So take a deep breath in, my friend. And I haven't worked on you in the past. And you might have done some of my work, but I haven't done it like a one-on-one session with you or anything, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Alrighty. So, you know, as we go through, I'll just analyze you, and then if you want to ask me questions or anything like that, uh, you can. Okay. You know, your groin area, this area here, for example, when I analyze you, that frequency is not there for you. So you might feel, say, empty or hollow or incomplete. So frequency wise, you know, you create a signature, or if you know, if a camera could see what I see or analyze, again, it wouldn't be a visual spectrum, but you know, you'd be have your head, your shoulders, arms, and all that stuff, your upper torso, and then it'd be kind of a void there, or convoluted, and then it'd be your legs. So that section is kind of void. Does that make sense to you? So,
Yeah.
and so what you would experience, because you go, well, shit, what the hell does that mean? You know, especially those people who are doubters, which is okay. It's always good to question things. So it's like, what does that mean? So for you, as a human experience, you would try to always prove yourself to people. You'd always try to be, say, that good person, and you would always try to validate yourself in front of anybody's eyes. Does that make sense to you? No matter who they are.
Yeah.
Okay. So no matter what you do, in people who are like, say, super successful, people who make, you know, a shitload of money, you know, billions of dollars, they run this pattern. Those billions of dollars would actually start to destroy them because it would magnify the void that they would have. Because most people go like you didn't seek, say, fortune and fame. You seek wisdom and knowledge to, say, complete that void. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In fact, you move away from because that's what you've learned. And again, I think you'd be a great example, I guess, a textbook scenario for enlightenment, because you've seeked enlightenment, or again, you might have done a lot of traditions, or yeah, customs, or yeah, traditions for you to become a grander version of who you are. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've done like ayahuasca type ceremonies or anything like that, but again, a lot of ceremonies or ayahuasca journeys and so on. Again, to seek that enlightenment. Does that make sense to you? So,
Yeah.
quite a few actually. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Wow. How many times have you done ayahuasca? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven.
Um.
Seven?
No. Three
Or
times.
okay. I see you doing things 7 times. Like whether it's ayahuasca or you might have tried something else to,
Yeah.
yeah. So like say 7 journeys, whether it's ayahuasca or something else, from what I'm seeing. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
um, so and you know, again, if you don't mind me using you as an example, can is that what happens with people who become enlightened with you is that, like you, is that your identity stays here in the lower consciousness. Okay, you're that void here. Okay, stays in the lower consciousness. But then ayahuasca and so on, if done right, and you've kind of done it like half-ass, right? Because again, you would need a strong teacher to hold on to you or hold on to your consciousness as you elevate. So, and then take all of you with, okay, and then not pollute yourself with other people around you as you go through. So we'll be talking about, say, plant journeys and so on, plant medicines journeys and so on like that. Um, Next April 22nd, I guess it's Weed Day, Marijuana Day. So we'll do a special Moss on Sundays then. Um, but so what you've done is like your body is an anchor here. And then what happens is ayahuasca and so on takes you into the higher level of consciousness. And that's why you've done it so many times. Is like you become enlightened. Basically, you've become or you've experienced the brilliance of what could be for you. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. But your existence, your identity still exists here. So the problem with that is that that example I gave you, right? You're an enlightened being up here, right? Pure brilliance without any filters or identities or distortions. Okay, pure brilliance. You create yourself at this level as the screen, and then you think you are this person. You think you're this identity. So, and then you're going up here. You're back. Fazila. So we'll get you. Okay. So what'll happen is that you're enlightened being here. You think your identity is here, and that's what the problem with most people who seek enlightenment. You think your identity exists in a physical form, and then you try to seek enlightenment. So it's like here, you're here, and then you're bouncing off here. Unfortunately, when you think that your identity exists in this time, it creates more of a separation for you. So the more you do ayahuasca, or the more you say enlighten, or the more you experience fantastic journeys, the more disconnected you will get from this physical reality. And then the more jittery you would get, the more anxious you will get, the more say angry you would get, the more whatever you get, because again, you're separating. Basically, you're creating a slow death for yourself. Or you get to a higher level. Again, the separation or distance between your physical platform here, again, say consciousness A, where this reality creates itself, and then higher levels of consciousness. You go a certain beyond consciousness, say like you're at 0 level consciousness here, you go to a level 10, well, you would have to disconnect and destroy yourself, because you can't just create yourself that disparately. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what's happening to you. It's like, fuck. So the more, again, enlightened you get, the more you want to escape this reality, physical reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to do that. And the key is, unfortunately, most people who run this pattern, they'll try more and more. And yes, they'll see the awakened world. They'll see the possibilities, but this reality becomes really super heavy for them. Because every time you do an ayahuasca journey, it's basically a mini near death for you. It's a controlled death scenario. You're taking poison, by the way. It kills you off. Your body dies. And that's why it's an enlightened journey. Again, your identity of your physical being dies off. You disconnect, and then you come back into your life. Simple as that. And every time, again, it's a layer sheds away. But if you still have a strong identity uh, at a physical level, you won't get there. So what I'm doing for you, by the way, is helping you understand that you're not this person that's broken, Ken. Okay, and that's all your life. And we'll get into, say, the physical logistics. You're not a broken person trying to fix yourself. Most people who are enlightened think that way, and that's why they seek enlightenment or success, which is another form of enlightenment, by the way. We just call it by different names. You would have to say represent yourself, not from this level, but you'd represent yourself this level. And then that space that you create from here to here is, again, that reflection of you coming from this side, reflecting upon who you are, not creating, again, another instance of you here. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Take a deep breath in. And I know your midsection is feeling very different now. You're actually feeling like, I want to say like a more vibrancy or a young kid. When you were a young kid, by the way, and this isn't just because it's not just this lifetime, but again, this lifetime dictates what happens to you. Um, it's like when you were a young kid, you were kind of thrown around or trashed, basically, or thought of as trash. No offense, but that's basically what you feel like. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you have that, or you think you are of no value, and then people like say a mother figure, and obviously your mother not completely there. Was there other people that raised you as well?
It was
Or did
mostly
you go
my
from
mom. Yeah. But
Okay.
I was like, I kind of grew up in a rough environment.
Yeah, quite rough. And I'm not blaming your mom, and I'm not saying your mom's a bad person or anything like that. But let's just say not the most. Your mom doesn't feel like your mom to me, and the several people that I see might be the same person, but you know how your mom would change personalities, and it's like, whoa, who the hell is that? Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's what I see. I see several, again, several people raising you, but then it's all the same person. So your mom would have had, say, different identities of her. And it's not just like her moods change. It's like, and again, you're a brilliant kid, Dan, again, very brilliant, Ken. But when you're a little kid and you look at somebody, you see their essence of who they are. This is where little kids, they look at, whoever, and they're scared of that person, and then their parents go, well, you got to love that person because that person did something good, but in essence their purity is, garbage. So you look at your mom and you go, wow, she's very different. And then you'll go away, and then you see her again another time frame or another day, for example, and you'll go, wow, that's not mom, that's somebody else in mom's body. Does that make sense to you?
So, yeah.
Uh, would she have like different personalities, or would you have to be somebody else, depending on her mood, so to speak?
Um. Yeah. It's. I mean, it's. I wouldn't say it was so much like different personalities.
Mhm.
I don't know. I was a bad kid though too, so I don't know if it was just. Um.
Um,
There's definitely like a connection there between like just like a rough upbringing and trying to adjust myself to fit to my external circumstance, people pleasing type of.
exactly. So that's what I'm getting at. And were you a bad kid? Not really. You were trying to define yourself in space time, because when again you feel like you're not worthy, or like you were maybe a mistake, or or you're the cause of a lot of things. A lot of kids are raised that way, right? It's like you're the reason why my life is the way it is, and again, you're all that stuff that people, again, that's your rough, say, upbringing. So when you're a kid and you feel that incompleteness, again, that void of your identity, and that's why it's in your growing area, you would always have to be rough or be a bad kid, so to speak, because if you weren't, you'd feel more and more depressed and more, say, suicidal. Does that make sense? Because you would, say, create that void. So you would be a bad kid or act up, because that would, say, pull you into time, that would like render you, or a spanking or a beating or getting yelled at pulls your body into time, and then you crave being a bad kid, so to speak. And that's how you would feel enlightened, so to speak, or connected, or basically euphoric. And that's why it's kind of incongruent for you as you grow up. It's like, shit, why am I a bad kid? And then you would crave doing something wrong, so to speak, again, to find that, say, euphoria. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not a bad kid. You were a kid that, well, your parents are supposed to help you define yourself in time and render yourself here. That's their only job, by the way. Everything else, if you understand that, everything else falls into place. So, uh, so all this time you're trying to fulfill your void. Okay, you're trying to prove yourself, and you go, well, helping others will help. Being all that to somebody will help, but again, it creates more of a void for you, because the more love, love for people, you have a great love for people, but that respect isn't, say, held back to you, because love is a magnifier. You have a pure love for people, for consciousness, and the bigger, grander things. And again, that's why many people that run your patterns destroy themselves, and actually they destroy the reality that they're in. Take a deep breath in, my friend. And the reason why is the more love you have for somebody, because love is a magnifier, or the more wealth you have, it magnifies the incompleteness that you are. So you create that void in you, and then you seek more love. Love of people, love of a higher being, love of a spiritual leader, love of God, love of nature. Again, all those things are magnifiers, and they're not there to destroy you, but most people look at it the wrong way. They're a magnifier to go, okay, look at that crap that you're holding on to. The void can that you have here has to disappear. But then you hold on to that void thinking it's you, and you want more of that love, which magnifies who you are. And then that void gets bigger until you break apart, go, shit, I got to let go of this void. Does that make sense to you how things work out?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, how are you feeling, by the way?
Feel good. Yeah. Yeah. Feel
Yeah.
very centered.
Yeah. And that's what you've been seeking for, right? Being centered, being complete. So for you, what I was doing for you, Ken, is just pulling you here, and you're awakened enough. You're out there. You're kind of like a kite with no strings attached, literally, and you're just like floating around because there's a void in this lower half. So putting you this way, you'll create an identity for yourself. Because again, you switch identities according to whoever is there, and you go, well, I'm just a free thinker. I just love everybody. I'm very fluid, but you still have to have, say, an identity of your own, and you can still be that from a different perspective that I won't get into. Um, um, so again, take a deep breath in again. So what I'm doing for you now is like locking you in time. And as I lock you in time, what happens is all the identities of other people that you've created around you, because you can adapt to people really fast, that starts to eliminate, and then you start to create your own identity. And as you create your own identity in a very short time, the experiences that you've had, in ayahuasca journeys or whatever, you'll actually say, see that from a whole different perspective, not a broken human down here, but an enlightened being, seeing it from a higher level of consciousness. Very different perspective. Does that make sense? Do you have
Yeah.
questions, by the way?
Yeah, I got a couple questions.
Mhm.
What would you say right now? Is there anything that's like emotionally or psychologically, mentally that is blocking me from reaching that highest level? Because a lot of
Mhm.
stuff you said is like right on point, and
Mhm.
I feel like I've gone through that whole phase of like the career of being having a successful business and then not wanting the success and then retreating, going back into like
Yep.
like you said, you want to live in a van and like look at the ocean,
Exactly.
and then now
Yep.
I've kind of come back to circle where like I now I'm like
Yeah.
want to bring in my business, my finances, my
Mhm.
relationship, everything is like out of whack. So what
Exactly.
would you suggest that could help me get back on the right track?
Well, at the psychology level, um, and all the techniques that you've learned, you're on track. But if so, all those things are congruent. All those tools are in place. But if you have, say, a wrong blueprint on what you're trying to build,
Hmm.
none of those tools will work. So, and it sounds strange, but what I did for you is probably worth a lifetime for you, because right now you'll see that you're a solid center. This area will recreate itself here. Your identity will recreate itself. So you'll start to expand. The psychology and all that will just fall into place. You're good to go on that. You've taught yourself a hell of a lot of things. Psychology, self improvement. Again, you've gone through the gamut. So, and all those things, again, they're not bad. But if you can't say you can't create a foundation with those. So those are surface level. Again, you're a physical identity of being broken. Okay. The aspect, again, what I did for you is create, say, a solidness of where you are in time and space. And I know that might be off center to you, or I don't understand it. You don't have to understand it. After this session, you'll see that, and even now, do you notice that you're more clear-minded and you have, say, a perfect direction that you go to? Does that make sense
Yeah,
to you right now?
yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's like, well, you didn't do anything. Your psychology didn't change or anything like that. All that changed is you defining where you are exactly in space time. So I would suggest the 18 days for you. Uh, and then the psychology and all that stuff, again, that you've done will say just fast track you. You'll have a successful business and feel enlightened at the same time. And that's how, so what you do, your product or services that you're sending out, because I know you're a helper of people, when they touch your product or service, they go, wow, this is real. This is real value for me. That's the new business paradigm, by the way, I talk about. This is real value for me, and people will get naturally attracted to you because that's what people are looking for, not just more goods and services or more product. They're actually looking for frequencies. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're on the right track. I would do the 18 days coming up in April. Again, not. I think it's on the 5th, April 5th, I believe. I believe. So that's coming up for you. That will fast track all the thing that you've done, your ayahuasca journeys or whatever else that you've done. All those pieces that you're trying to figure out will literally fall into place for you, and you'd be on the fast track. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions, quickly?
Yeah, like my relationship with my partner's just been, really crazy. What do you see going on with that? Is like stuff in my head, or
Well,
is
well,
is it
your
a unhealthy
relationship.
situation?
No, well, like I said, your relationship, again, all the things that you're asking, again, at the base level,
Hmm.
the psychology and all that stuff, again, you think you're broken, you think you're no good, so you improve yourself. So that aspect, your relationship with your partner, if you have a void here, your identity of becoming a man or being a man is known. It's
Yeah.
just not there. So when I see your partner, again, at first, she might fall in love, your partner might fall in love with, oh wow, he's done all these journeys. Oh wow, he's done this and a lot of exciting things, out there, free thinker and all that stuff. But then as you get, and that's the surface layer. But then as you, again, love is a magnifier, and as you get, closer and closer and more intimate, basically, and there's a void there, you go, gosh, she'll go, that wow, he's really empty. He can't really connect with himself. He's very separate, and then that they back away, if that makes sense to you. One, two, three. The three serious relationships that you've had, it goes really, really good to a certain point. They see the emptiness that you're trying to fulfill, and it's like, he'll never recover, and they just like basically fade away. Your partner has also a father type issue, from what I'm seeing. So she's always like referencing herself the way her father scolded her or disciplined her. So she's got to get over that. And she's putting that on you because she's basically expecting you to be a father figure. But if you have a void, for example, you can't create that love space because her identity of love is a mate that'll be a father figure, but you can't even be a male to be a father figure because there's a void there. So that's the issue that you have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
Makes a lot of
um,
sense.
yeah, you're both nice people, but you really, I would have her do the 18 days together with you if you guys are really serious, and you'll see how fast you can clean up. All right.
All
So,
right.
all right, buddy. We'll move
Yeah.
on. We'll go to Fazila, hopefully this time. Hi. There we go. Um, I can't hear you, hon, for some reason. It's so weird, because we, then, and you are unmuted. Yami, I don't know if you can help her out. Yeah. So again, Fazila, can you unmute yourself? There's a little microphone. Hello? Okay, you're really low though now. You're really, really low. Can you hear me? All right. So, um, So I'll just give you a minute or two, or I can just read you, and then you can just, I guess, just shake your head. Can you shake your head if you understand, honey? Okay, so I'll just read you, and then we'll just do it this way. So again, very religious background from what I'm seeing. The good person scenario from what I'm seeing, you have a lot of traditions or culture that is based on, again, a good person, bad person. So whenever you're like that, you're always living in a life of sin, and you're never good. And because you feel, again, say, a life of sin, or you try to be a good person, you would carry the burdens of others for you, even after they die. So when I see you, you're carrying the burdens or the illnesses that you have, by the way, and I'll just run through them real quick. And again, does that make sense so far? Just shake your head. Yes, no. Can you hear me? Uh, Tell what, Fazila, what we'll do, Hun, is that we'll just come back for you. Yeah, we'll come back for you because I we can't connect. Okay, so we'll just move on. All right, Hun. Anyway, so as we end, guys, again, disconnect on her issues on her end. So if you want to be on live. Again, good camera, good sound. You're comfortable with the technology. Should be pretty simple, but you're comfortable with the technology to be, say, analyzed live. Okay. Otherwise, during the normal Moss on Sundays, I do analyze you, but we just don't converse back and forth. Okay. So as we end, guys, a lot of good things coming up for you. The April 18 day, the fastest way to transform your life, hands down. I don't care what you've done in the past. Try the 18 days, and within 18 days, especially if you've done a lot of stuff in the past, just like Ken there, right? He's done a lot of stuff in the past. He'll do the 18 days and he'll just like skyrocket. He'd be amazed at how fast you can do the same as well. It is an accelerant. It's not yeah, it is an accelerant of what you've done in the past and what you'll do in the future. Okay, so on top of that, guys, racing event coming up. It's in June. It's here in my not here. It's in Minnesota, my hometown, Brainerd. High performance racing, and the cool thing about that is, what does that racing have to do with enlightenment? Well, when you're going high speeds, okay, you're going at high speeds, you get pulled into say a more microscopic definition of time, and as you do, you become, say, awakened, and that's what the lecture series is about, uh, on on this high performance driving event. So if you're not interested in driving, again, you can still join us for the lecture series, and what that is about is, again, XI abundance. So it'll show you how to create, say, massive wealth without the destruction of say, normal wealth, like you see, right? A lot of millionaires, billionaires, but their life is horrendous, right? You don't want that kind of wealth. So this is how to create a spherical wealth. And so we'll have lectures through that, so you don't have to do the driving aspect, although I encourage you. And it's also beneficial if you have, say, teenagers. Um, if you have teenagers to learn safe driving skills, one of the top level professionals will be teaching that class on that aspect of driving and so on. And then for me, I'll be teaching you on how to create, say, wealth the proper way, spherical abundance, all aspects of abundance, and also something very new, spatial goal setting. Again, very powerful way to materialize anything in your reality. So we've got that coming up. We've got the 13 ways to heal your love pain. All you have to do is sign up for a newsletter, and you'll get all 13 ways for free, plus a bonus. And then on top of that, we're going to have a singles event coming up, and then also a couples event coming up for you who really want, say, that's a glorious or fantastic relationships. So that's all ahead of you guys. So take a look at the website, masajati.com. Highly encourage you to subscribe and like us on YouTube, so we can create, say, more fantastic content for you. All right, take care. And as we end, notice what you notice, and then notice the details. All right.